Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Pranzata Podcast. I am your host, Andrea Pranzatelli. And before we get into it, I have a solo episode today with just me. This is a podcast where I typically interview comedians, local musicians from the New Jersey, Philadelphia area. I also sometimes do solo podcasts such as today, where I share with you my weird, interesting thoughts for the week, and I take questions and answers. So today we have a solo episode, so here we go. Before we get into it, if you're into this kind of thing, don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit like, share this with your friends, and also don't forget to comment on anything as I go along. I think today's going to be a fun episode, so there's a lot of opportunities for commenting today. Okay, so quick announcement before we start today's episode. I will be performing a live comedy set this Saturday, August 14th. At the Reserve Club in Elmwood, New Jersey. Let me say it again for those who want to come visit me. It is Saturday, August 14th at the Reserve Club in Elmwood, New Jersey. And this is hosted by Kate Lawler, a sexy and hilarious woman. It's going to be a great lineup. So, you know, if you're from New Jersey or New York and you want to, this is going to be in like the North Jersey area. So if you want to see me live and you want to see me perform, this would be a great opportunity too. I had my very first Pranzata listener actually come to a live performance from my Instagram. So I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know like that was possible, you know? So I thought that was pretty cool. So I figured going forward, if I have like a live music or comedy event, I would share that with you guys if you guys want to come see me. Also, another quick thing, I have one of my listeners who has been badgering me to get a Patreon. I just want to shout out to this listener. I am going to be getting a Patreon this week. Just keep in mind, I am a one-woman show. So when it comes to these type of things, it takes me a long time to get to them. But I will be exploring that this week, and a Patreon will be out there soon. So I'm going to offer a Patreon to some of my listeners who would like to support the podcast financially. In the meantime, though, if you go down below, there is a link to my Venmo account. If you would like to, honest to God, if you just send me 50 cents, I would be happy with that. Just a little something to keep me moving and keep me inspired to continue this podcast. But that Patreon will be coming soon, and I will be sharing the link for you guys next episode. So anyways, here we go. Pranzata Podcast, episode number 24. So I have two segments for you guys today. The first segment is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be about dating apps. And, you know, quick side story before I get into it. I was hanging out with my sister. We went on a vacation recently. And when we were younger, when we were like teenagers or whatever, 18, something like that, we used to watch Sex and the City together. We used to watch that TV show. And, you know, we went on vacation a couple weeks ago and we were kind of like talking about some of the episodes and we were going over it. And we were like joking around with each other, like, which character are you? Which character are you? And I told her that I thought I was Samantha, which was like, Samantha is the over-sexualized character who's kind of like making a sex innuendo about everything. Like she always has a sex joke. And I think that I like sexual innuendos as well. So I always thought that I was Samantha. And my sister, she was like, no, you're Miranda. And I was like, the ugly one? And she's like, no. She's like, not because she's ugly, but because you act like her. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, you're very cynical. And I'm like, I'm cynical? And I'm like, you know, and my sister, she knows me more than anybody. She knows me in ways that I probably don't even know myself because she's seen me as a kid and she sees the outside view of me. And she's like, yes, you're very cynical. And I was like, I never saw myself as cynical, but I was like, give me an example. And she was like, well, for example, apparently this was last year around Christmas time. I brought a plant to her house and I was like, here, do you want this plant? One of my students gave it to me. And she was like, she's like, this is a really nice plant. Are you sure you want to just give this to me? And I was like, yeah, honestly, I hate it. And we just started cracking up and I'm like, you're right. Like I never really viewed myself as a cynical person, but I kind of am. And, you know, so I thought that this segment on dating apps would be a fun one to do, because I thought I should really own my cynical side a little more on this podcast so you guys could see more of that side of me. You know, this is only episode 24, so as each episode goes along, I feel like I'm opening more and more to you guys, and I'm exposing like different parts of my personality that a lot of people don't even know I have. So I'm going to share my cynical perspective of the dating apps, and basically this segment should be called Why I Hate Everybody on Dating Apps and You Should Kill Yourself. So let me explain to you like a little preface of this, why I'm going over this. So I'm a single woman. I'm 33 years old. I feel like it's about time that I find someone, you know. I just, you know, and granted, my listeners know that I got out of a long-term relationship, but it's been a year now, and you know, I'm not getting any younger. So I feel like I gotta get a move on here. And you know, a lot of my friends are like, "Why don't you use a dating app?" And I'm, you know, I'm very old-fashioned. I still, as psychotic as this seems, I still actually believe in soulmates. And and by the way, I don't believe that there's just like one soulmate for everybody. I think there's multiple soulmates, or in other words, I feel like different people cross your path in life for a very specific reason, to teach you a lesson and to teach you something. And I even think my ex-boyfriend, that, you know, we just broke up last year, I think that he's a soulmate of mine. I do think we crossed paths in this life for a very specific reason. But anyways, that's like a whole different story. I want to stay on, you know, on task with what we're doing here. And so one of the reasons why I've been kind of anti these dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, all that kind of stuff, is because I always thought that it's taking away from nature doing its work, connecting you naturally through your soulmates that you're supposed to meet in this life. And you know what I mean? Like, you know how there's some people in life that you just have this, there's plenty of attractive people in the world. There's plenty of good looking, well, not anymore. Now that I'm in my 30s, it's not so true. But when I was in my 20s, there was a lot of attractive people. Like, there was a lot of good looking guys, but for some reason there were specific guys that I was just drawn to. And I felt like I needed to, like, just like this magnetic attraction. And that's why I've always believed in this like concept of soulmates. As psychotic as that seems, like after all the shit that's happened to me in my life, you would think that I would be very cynical about that. But that's actually one thing that I'm not cynical about is romance and love. I still have like a lot of faith in it. So, you know, I've always thought that like dating apps would take away from nature doing its job, bringing you together with the people that you're supposed to meet naturally. But then I also thought that I think back to my 20s, my mid 20s, I used to be very stubborn about technology, and I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't have social media. I was like very stubborn about that kind of thing. And I kind of only, you know, similar to my perspective on dating apps, I kind of only thought that, you really should be living your life as naturally as possible. And then, you know, fast forward to now, obviously my perspective is completely different. And I had a total change of perspective, and I realized like, wait a second, I'm really missing out on a lot of opportunities by not having social media, because, you know, I want to work in the creative field. I need to survive. Like, you know, I have to kind of go with the flow of where the world is going. And unfortunately, you can't exist in a business or a creative field without social media. And so, you know, the past 2 years, I've just kind of dived deep into social media, and now I love it. So I really thought back to that, and I was like, maybe I'm having something like that with dating apps. Maybe I'm being stubborn about it. Maybe I'm being closed-minded about it. So maybe I just need to have a little bit more of an open-minded approach about using them. And I also thought this too. I also thought that if the universe was so powerful as to bring people together and attract certain people together, why wouldn't the universe be powerful enough to have that attraction happen through soulmates, through dating apps as well. You know what I mean? Like if soulmates are real, why would it only have to happen through real life interaction? Why couldn't the magic of God, you know, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, happen through these apps as well? And so I was just like, you know what? I'll try. Maybe I'm being closed-minded and I'll give it a try. So I've basically been having this relationship with dating apps over the past few months where I talk myself into it and my friends talk me into it. I download it and I make a bio and I have it for like one day. And by the end, not even a day, like a few hours. And after a few hours, I'm just like, fuck this. I hate every single person on here. And I hope they all die. So I decided to compile a list of specific prototypes of people on this dating app, these dating apps. By dating apps, I've tried Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble. And I think I've tried something else too, but I can't remember. But, you know, the regular ones that most people are on. And I figured this... First of all, I thought it would be fun to talk about, but I also thought it would actually be genuinely helpful to my male listeners who kind of might want to know what goes on in a woman's head, why she might swipe left on you. Because, you know, I was having a conversation with one of my friends recently about this, and he told me that he's in a relationship now, but when he was single, he found his girlfriend through Tinder, and he said that his strategy was to just swipe left on every single, or right. He said the male strategy is to swipe right on every single person until you get a match and then decide later like what you're going to do about it. And I'm just like, that is so opposite of the female strategy, which is to swipe left on like 99.9% of people. And I think I'm more harsh than other women too. I think maybe other women might swipe right on some people. I mean, like I swipe right on like 0.0001 of people, and then I just delete the app. So I wanted to share with you my reasons why, and I've compiled a list of 8 specific prototypes of people, you know, and maybe my male listeners will get something out of this. I'll probably offend some of my male listeners, and I will probably see my subscriber count go down after this, but here we go. So number 1, the dog guy. Okay, so the dog guy, I swipe left on the dog guy. The dog guy is the one who, his main bio picture, he's holding a dog desperately. Like he's like has this like kind of fake smile, and he's holding the dog up to the woman. And I immediately am turned off by this because it just rings of desperation. It's almost like fisherman's bait. Like it's like I'm a piece of shit, but look at this dog, you know, kind of thing. And you know, and here's the thing. I feel bad for men because I get it. Like if most women are going to swipe left on you, you probably have this pressure to stand out in a specific way. And like almost like birds peacocking their feathers, you know? And so I kind of understand like why men might feel this need to like put on this show. It makes sense, but I just think most of them are going about it the wrong way, and then they might be looking at other men's profiles, thinking, well, this guy did that, I'm just gonna do what he does. But I'm telling you right now, like the fucking dog, it pisses me off. It like rings of desperation. Like I said, it's almost like bait. Like I don't have enough self-confidence just to be here by myself, so I'm just going to use this dog as bait because this dog's really cute. And by the way, sometimes the dog could be substituted with cats or other things. Like I saw a guy holding like apples that he picked from an orchard, and I think that's like the same, like that's the same energy. It's like, here, I got this for you kind of thing. And I think you got to stop that. And I think that I do understand like wanting to show a dog because you want to show the lady that you're compatible because you have a dog. Like what if she's allergic to dogs? What if she hates dogs? So I get the idea that you might need to have a dog somewhere in there just to show your compatibility. That's a totally different story. I think in that case, just write in your bio that you have a dog, or make the dog like the third picture, and it doesn't have to be like that. Just maybe walk with the dog or something like that, but just definitely don't like hold the dog in your main picture. I think that's a really big turnoff. Okay. Guy number 2. And I had to put 3 different types of people in number 2 because I think they're pretty much all the same person. If you wear a hat, if you wear sunglasses, or if you have a side profile, I'm going to swipe left. Because if you have to wear a hat, sunglasses, or only show your side profile, immediately that's going to tell me one thing: that your real face is too ugly to be seen head on. I just know, and I don't even need to waste my time looking at your other pictures. I just know, like, because in the beginning, I would see a guy that was handsome, like with sunglasses or a side profile or whatever, or even a hat, and I'd be like, oh wow, he's pretty handsome. Let me look at more. And then you scroll down, and then you see them without the hat or out the glasses, and you're like, oh, well, that's why. And here's the thing, like, I get the strategy. I think what's happening here with these guys is that they know they're not good looking, so they want to stall you. Like, they want to stall you for a minute because they figured, all right, if I look semi-attractive in the profile picture, maybe she'll read my bio, maybe she'll like the bio, and then she'll see past my ugly face. I think you're failing because I think that most women are just going to swipe left when they see the glasses or the hat or the side profile. This is what I think. If your face is a 4 out of 10 and you're trying to get a woman who is a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 or a 7 or an 8 or whatever it is that you're trying to lure in by hiding, by masking, I think there's only 2 ways you're going to get this type of woman to fall for you. I think that one, you need to make a lot of money. And I'm talking like multi-millionaire, billionaire status. And if you are this person, you can probably get a 10 out of 10. And I'm sorry if this hurts anybody. Like I said, I'm probably going to offend a lot of people and lose some followers, but that's fine. And also, by the way, they have a specific app for this type of man. So if you are this type of man, just go to that app because you're going to find the woman you're looking for there. I think it's like Millionaire, Date Millionaires, whatever. So yeah, if you're a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, you could be a 4 and get a 10. The only other way you're going to get the type of woman that you're trying to get by hiding your true face is by just improving your face, which sounds impossible, but it's not. I kind of have a theory that I actually think that very few people in this life are actually that ugly. I think that a lot of people have a lot more control over their physical appearance than they think. There's going to be obvious exceptions. You could be very short, you could have a big nose, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, there are so many ways to improve your appearance. I know this from personal experience because I was not like a hot girl in high school. I was picked on a lot for my physical appearance. I was called fat. I was called ugly. I was called weird. So as an adult woman, I decided to turn that around and take really good care of my health. And I think that if you want better looking woman, be a better looking man and put in the work, go to the gym, dress better, get a better haircut for your face. Maybe get a female friend who can kind of like be honest with you and help you, like find that. But I think at the end of the day, it kind of starts with taking care of your health, taking care of your fitness, eating healthier foods, drinking more water, quitting smoking, quitting drinking. And I think that alone will bump you from a 4 to a 5. And then if you want to make it to like a 6 or a 7, I think then the next step would be to like improve your confidence. You know, the way you carry yourself makes a big deal. There's men out there that if they have a good sense of humor, I would marry the shit out of them, even if they were just like, for example, I feel kind of like this is kind of mean to say this, but I don't find like comedian Joe List, for example, I don't think he's like inherently a hot guy, but he is so fucking funny that I think he's so hot just because of his sense of humor. And I think that just like him alone without his personality is like a 5. But I think his personality, his sense of humor brings him up to a 7 just from his sense of humor. So, you know, if you want to get these types of women, don't lie about your physical appearance. Just improve your physical appearance by being more charismatic, taking care of your health, and all that kind of stuff. I just felt like I had to say that because I feel like a lot more people have control than they realize. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to improve your appearance through exercise and diet and, you know, working on yourself, then stop hiding behind the glasses or the side profile. Just show your face. Because if you're just a 4 and you don't have a lot of money, you're only going to get at best a 5. So just save yourself the trouble and just show your face head on and fucking own it, because I think you have more of a chance of getting something by doing that. Yeah. Guy number 3. This kind of should have been categorized with guy number 2. It's kind of the same thing in a different form. The guy who's with his friends as his profile picture. The guy who's with his friends in his profile picture is always the ugliest guy. And I think the trick here is that the guy thinks that he's going to stall you for a second and you're going to look at the bio and then fall for his bio and then kind of get over the fact that he's the ugliest guy once you've read his bio. It's just not going to work. Or another possible tactic of that is that you're going to see that he has attractive friends and you're going to then see him as a higher social status and you're going to be more forgiving of his appearance. But listen, this is a dating app. Like, it doesn't work that way. I hate to say it, but the majority of the attraction starts from physical attraction. So you're just going to have to, if you're ugly, you're just going to have to be more upfront and honest about it and fucking own it, you know? Okay. So that's number 3. And this person kind of follows the same rules as guy number 2. So I don't need to go into depth with that. Just rewind and listen to guy number 2 again. Okay. Guy number 4, the guy with no bio. I immediately swipe left on the guy with no bio. And I'll tell you why. I don't give a shit how hot you are. This is 2021. I have 3 jobs. I don't have fucking time to find out if we have anything in common. There's plenty of other hot guys on the app. So if I see a hot guy, even if I feel this like intense attraction, I'm going to just swipe left because I'm just like, I don't care how hot you are. I don't have time to meet you and find out if we have anything in common. Fucking tell me right off the bat so I don't have to waste my time. So there you go. If you're a guy who thinks like, oh, I'm too good for the bio, you're really screwing yourself up. You're fucking with your own odds here, because personally, I just swipe left because you're wasting my time. There's plenty of other hot guys that will tell me exactly what they're looking for. And I'm just going to go for that. Okay. Number 5, the amazing guy. So the amazing guy he's usually hot. He's usually tall. He's usually he's an 8 out of 10. But I'm going to swipe left on this guy because all of his pictures, the reason I call him the amazing guy is because he's always doing something amazing. Like, he's bungee jumping, he's kissing a koala bear, he's climbing a mountain, I don't know. He's just, he's always alone in his pictures too. That's another thing. And by the way, if I rewind back to the being with your friends, it seems contradictory, but it's not, because I think you shouldn't be with your friends in your bio picture, but I think it's okay to be with your friends in like the fourth picture. That's like a totally different story. But when you see the guy that's like, he's got a man bun and he's tall and he's hot and he's just doing all these amazing things. He's traveling, he's bungee jumping. Like, to me, that just reads as like, one, you're going to have so many women chasing you that I'm just wasting my time. And two, even if I land you, you're going to be so fucking into yourself that we're going to have nothing to talk about. So I think, and again, I understand, like I was saying earlier, I think guys like need to kind of peacock themselves to get attention. So they have to do tricks, you know? So I totally get it. I have sympathy for that. But I just think that like this, it doesn't matter how hot you are. This in itself is like a whole nother type of desperation. Like this, look how amazing I am. Look what everything I can do. Like it's just gross. And I immediately swipe left on that. Okay. There's only 8, so I only have a couple more to go. Number 6, the guy who is making a sex face. So this is, again, usually a pretty hot guy, actually. These guys are usually very good looking. But there's some guys on the dating app that are like, they're making like a supermodel, like almost like a female supermodel, like sex face. Like, and here's the fucked up thing. I actually make this face on my Instagram. And people call me out on it. Mainly because I don't like my teeth. That's why I do it. I don't like my teeth and I'm insecure about my teeth. So I just like make that like sex face. It's not fair, but I think it's a double standard. And I think it's acceptable for women to make the face. I don't think it's acceptable for heterosexual males to make this face and expect heterosexual women to be attracted to this. It's just, when I see that, I think either you're gay or you're way too into yourself. And again, usually, like I said, these guys are usually very hot. It's just that it's gross. It's like a gross behavior for a male to do that. And, you know, and it kind of gives me like an out of body experience to kind of look at myself. And I'm just like, is it gross that I do that? Is it gross that I don't smile in my pictures? And it does make me think that. So I get that it's a double standard, but I don't know. I think that it's unfortunately more acceptable for straight females to do that. There's just something really weird about like straight males doing that, you know? So immediately I will swipe left on that guy. So don't do that. And if you're like me and you're insecure about your smile, you don't necessarily have to smile in your picture, but just don't do any of that. That's where I draw the line. You can just like, just not smile, but don't contort your face in any like sex way. It's just kind of weird. Number 7, there's 2 more to go. Number 7, the topless guy. Listen, I think I get it. I don't necessarily see anything wrong with having a topless photo in one of your pictures, but I think there's like a classy way to do it. I think if your very first picture is you like flexing, and again, he could be very hot. Usually these guys are very hot, but if you're just like your very first picture, you're just like fucking, it's kind of like the sex face guy, but in a different version. It's like the abs guy. If you're just like flexing your abs and like, like to me that reads as you're just trying to get in my pants, which by the way, if that's what you're looking for, then maybe do it, because maybe, you know, there may be like a prototype of woman out there who just want to fuck. Like, you know, there might be some women out there who just want to fuck, and that's what you're looking for. And if that's the case, then keep doing what you're doing. But if you're looking for like a relationship, I don't think that's going to work. I do understand like the need kind of like the dog thing. I do understand the need to show that you're fit in order to show compatibility. Like you might be saying like, hey, I'm a fit guy, I want a fit lady. That I understand. But again, it's kind of like the dog thing. You can just write in your bio that you're into fitness and you also like women that are into fitness, or you can make your topless photo like the sixth picture, like the fourth or fifth or sixth picture, and you can just have it a little more classy. Like rather than just being like, like you can maybe you can like be on the beach, like doing something, surfing, I don't know, like something where you're like distracting the fact. I mean, we all know what you're doing. We all know, but maybe just like make it a little more low key. You know, you can find a way to make it low key. Probably a beach picture. I would say that would do the trick, but don't like in front of the mirror. That's not working. I always swipe left on that guy. Last person number 8, the guy with the celebrity. This is a horrible idea because you could be a great catch. You could be a great looking guy. But if you put yourself next to a celebrity, I can now see how ugly you really are. Like I'm not going to pose my main picture next to Angelina Jolie. You know what I mean? Or like, I'm not going to post a picture on my Instagram of my brand new Kia, next to a Tesla. Like I love my Kia and I think it's a beautiful car, but I'm not going to put it next to a Tesla in trying to show it off. I'm not going to take my, my profile picture next to Angelina Jolie and expect people to look at me. I think this is a mistake. I think you really shouldn't do this because all it does is just dull you in comparison to the person you're next to. I also think it's like, it's not even that. It's not even an aesthetic thing, but it's also like, it reads as desperate because it reads as like you're trying to prove your social status. Like you're trying to prove how cool you are. I don't like it. So that's it. Those are my 8 people that I habitually swipe left on. There's actually like 100 more, but these were the ones that I could like recognize a pattern with. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Because like I said, I have predominantly male listeners on this channel. I looked in the statistics on my, what do they call that? Not your algorithm. Someone correct me. I can't remember what they call it. Analytics. I looked at the analytics and I apparently have like 85% male listeners. So I just thought this would be kind of like a fun thing to talk about with my male listeners. But I want everyone to leave me a comment in the comment section below. Lady listeners, for the 15% that are there, I want you to tell me if you know of any specific prototype of guy that I'm missing that you would include on this list. Or male listeners, I'm kind of curious to see your perspective. Is there a prototype of female? Because maybe I'm doing something wrong, Maybe I'm one of the female prototypes. So I'd like to know that. So leave in the comment section below, whether you're a lady or a male, is there like a prototype of person that you see on there that drives you crazy that you want to share? So leave that in the comment section below. Right now I am not on like I said, I go through these like phases where I'm just like, maybe I'm being closed-minded. I'll give it a try. I start it and within like 2 hours, I'm just like, fuck this. And I just delete it. So, I'm in the deletion phase of this process and, I don't know, maybe I'll do it again one day. Cause like some of the women that I look up to greatly, in the comedy industry found their partners on these apps. Eliza Schlesinger found her husband on this app. Whitney Cummings found her current boyfriend on this app. So, these are women that I really look up to and admire. So I'm just like, if they did it, who's to say I can't do it? But right now I'm like in a no phase with it. And I'm sure that'll change when I'm feeling lonely and depressed. But for now, it's a no. Okay, next segment of the podcast. I think we're doing good. We're in like 30 minutes now. I usually talk a lot, but I think we're going to keep this podcast in under an hour. And I'm going to go through my questions and answers. And this is one of my favorite parts of this podcast. I really appreciate that. I appreciate your questions. By the way, I'm always taking questions. So if anybody wants to submit a question for next solo podcast, you can do so on my Instagram. You can send me an Instagram message. I've included my link to my Instagram below. It's Pranzata, Pranzata. You can send me any question about advice you want, questions about my personal life, ridiculous questions. I take it all. I think at some point I would like audio questions, because some of my favorite podcasts include that. The Theo Von podcast has, he takes audio questions. Also Sarah Silverman, I really like her podcast, and she takes audio questions. So at some point I would like to figure that out, how to take actual audio questions. But for now, you can send me your written questions to my personal Instagram, Pranzata. Here we go. Question number 1. I actually think this is a really good question. So Envy Bailey X asks me, you like cryptocurrency, bro? First of all, I want to make a side note about this. I actually learned this for the first time, from some of my friends. Apparently when someone says bro after something, like he's a gym bro, he's a finance bro, he's a music bro, it always alludes that they're like a piece of shit. I didn't know that. So if someone says he's a fucking gym bro, they don't just mean he's a guy who goes to the gym. They mean he's the asshole at the gym. He's the guy who's so into the gym that he's obnoxious about it. I didn't know that. So it's good to know. So someone said, you like cryptocurrency, bro? No. The answer is no, I do not. I have some friends, apologies to my good friend Etzel, who listens to this podcast. He's been in love lately, so I don't know if he'll listen to this episode. I think he's busy, but when he's free, he listens to the episode, and he tried to get me into cryptocurrency, and he sent me a lot of information about it, and he told me he wanted to help me with it. I'm sorry. For one thing, I don't have the fucking time. I've got a lot of things to do. I don't have the time to do this. I don't have the time to figure it out. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm being closed-minded, just like I was saying I was with the dating apps and the social media and everything. Maybe I'm missing a really big opportunity, but I don't have the fucking time for it. So that's the one thing. And secondly, I have heard a little bit about it, and I'm sorry. I think it's a pyramid scheme. I think it's a phase. I think it's a pyramid scheme. And I think at some point it's going to be, I don't think it's the future. I think it's going to be a thing of the past. And I could be terribly wrong. I haven't researched enough about it. I haven't learned enough about it to have even a valid opinion on it. But that's just my gut instinct. My gut instinct is saying it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a pyramid scheme. It's going to pass. Correct me if I'm wrong. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Am I being an idiot? Am I being closed-minded? Any cryptocurrency bros out there want to help me out? That's that. Okay. Number 2, Dusty Dick Dante. I like that name. Dusty Dick Dante asks me, what other instruments do you play? And if you're just a pianist, why? I actually could play a few other instruments. A lot of people don't know that about me. Not a ton. But I could play a little bit of guitar, not bass, just regular guitar. I could play a little bit of guitar. I could play ukulele. It's really easy. Anybody can learn the ukulele. If you're a musician, anyone can learn the ukulele. So ukulele, guitar, and I could actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually could play drums. Not well, but I could hold a beat. I honestly think it's because I play piano that I could do it, because as a pianist, you're using both limbs. You're using both arms. You're using all your limbs actually, except for one of your legs, but you're using your right foot for the pedal, for the sustain pedal, and you're using both arms and hands. And there's actually a lot of similarities in the technique with the wrist flexibility. So I actually could play a little bit of drums. I could hold. I could play the if I don't know if any of you, well, everybody probably knows this, but the Beatles, I could play "Oh Darling" by the Beatles on drums. I could do a couple hip hop things on drums. I should probably make a drum video for you guys one of these days. I have to get my hands on a drum set. It's been a while, but that would actually be fun if I like did a music video where I did the drum part. And I would say I'm better at drums than guitar. I could play guitar, but like very little. I could play a couple scales. Like I know how to play a few scales with my fingers on the guitar, and I could play power chords. So I think like with power chords, you have like the freedom to play like a lot of punk rock songs and stuff like that. So I could do that, but I'm not by any means a master at any of those instruments. I could just play a very little bit. I primarily focus on the piano as my instrument and my voice. Mainly because for one thing, the guitar really hurts my fingers. And I think as a pianist, I don't think calluses and piano go hand in hand. I think the piano is a very delicate and very sensual instrument. So I do think there's something to be said about having smooth fingertips, on the piano. I personally, I've never been able to get past the phase of playing guitar enough that I could develop the calluses that it takes. So that's one thing. Also, my technique on the guitar is awful and it hurts. I don't know how to do it right, and it hurts my wrists. It hurts my wrists. It hurts my fingers. And those of you know, I've had a tendonitis injury in the past, so I don't want to do anything to damage my wrists. So I primarily have focused my efforts on the piano because, again, I don't want to hurt myself in any kind of way. And also, I don't know. I really think there's only so much time in a day. I have a lot of other things that I do. I do stand up and I do this podcast and I songwrite. So, I think it's great to be a multi-instrumentalist. I do think it's a wonderful skill, but I want to master the piano and master my vocals. And I would like to devote most of my time to that. So I guess that's why I'm primarily a pianist. But if I were to explore other instruments and master it, I would probably choose the drums, because I like it. It's not practical though. I one of the things I regret about being a pianist is I can't just put a fucking guitar on my back and go to New York City and play in the streets. It's a lot more heavy of a process for me to do that. But I do now have my 5-pound Yamaha Reface, which was one of the best investments I've ever made in my entire life. But besides that, I sometimes wish I did play guitar just for the reason that you can bring that pretty much anywhere, or ukulele or whatever like that. But with all that being said, I love the drums. I love hip hop. I love I don't know. I just love the sound of drums. And if I were to explore any other instrument, I would explore the drums, especially because I think it would help my piano playing. Because I think part of being a good pianist is developing rhythm and developing, exploring different rhythms. And I almost think you have to be a good drummer in a sense to understand how to explore these Latin rhythms and, jazz rhythms on the piano. So, maybe one of these days I'll take some drum lessons, but, for the most part, I don't see that happening with everything I have going on with stand up and everything like that. I'm working on recording a song right now and I'm just going to hire a professional drummer to do that for me. But yeah, that's a really good question. I like that. Next question. Some of these questions are ridiculous, and you guys know I'm analytical enough to humor you and answer the questions with a scientific approach, even though I know you're just fucking with me. But Trisha Marshall _Trisha Marshall on Instagram asks me, how the fuck, and she capitalizes and underlines, how the fuck are you so hot? Well, first of all, thank you. Again, I'm going to humor you and try to answer the question to the best of my ability. First of all, I want to say, I don't think I'm that hot. I've already answered this question that someone else asked me on a different podcast. But they didn't say hot. They said, why are you so cute? And I actually gave them a scientific breakdown. First of all, I want to say, you're hot. And I'm not fucking kidding. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to, what's the phrase I'm trying to think of? I'm not trying to rub your taint. I don't know, whatever. I don't know the phrase. I'm not trying to rub your taint. I'm just being completely honest. This woman, check her out on Instagram. Her name is _Trisha Marshall. She is a woman in a band. She's the only, I believe she's the only female in her band. I don't remember her band's name, to be honest, but I know that if you check her out on her Instagram that I just provided you, you'll be able to find her. She's very talented. She's very hot. She has a boyfriend, but if she didn't have a boyfriend, I would go to the other side for her. That's how hot this woman is. I will admit, I have had fantasies about this woman, threesome fantasies with my boyfriend. She is hot. So check her out. So I really appreciate you telling me I'm hot. But to answer your question, why the fuck am I hot? First of all, I don't think I'm that hot. As I had mentioned earlier in this podcast, I was definitely not the hot girl in high school. I was pretty unattractive, actually. I was awkward. I was chubby. I had acne. I had like really big frizzy hair, which I kind of have right now. Side note about that, if you guys are wondering why my hair keeps changing, like how sometimes I have this like long braid and sometimes I have really short hair, not short hair, but like right now it's shoulder length. It's because I've been growing out this fucking pixie cut for like 2 years at this point. And I wear that fake, I wear, it's fake as shit. I wear a fake braid like pretty often, like if I'm having a bad hair day or, you know, like I'm growing the hair out and it's in an awkward phase. I wear that braid a lot. So that braid is very deceiving because I feel like it gives me almost like a Wednesday Addams, like from the Addams Family, like slick look. And that's not my hair at all. My hair is actually like quite thick. And when it's shorter, it's actually pretty curly. On my Instagram, if you see some like shorter pictures of my hair, you'll see how it curls. But the longer it gets, it starts to get more like wavy. I feel like it's like an Italian wave. So right now, this is actually my authentic like hair texture. It's just like very thick and wavy. But anyways, and my hair is actually finally growing to a point where it feels like myself again. It's not quite there. It's still like pretty short, you know, but I feel like I'm finally growing into myself again and I won't have to wear that braid, you know. But what I was saying, I don't think I'm that attractive. I don't see myself as that attractive because I still feel like the ugly kid, you know, like I felt when I was younger. Like I said, I was like chubby with acne and I had this like thick hair that I didn't know how to style. It was like always out to here. And if I could find a picture, I'll probably include it if I could find one. But I honestly had so much shame about like my childhood that I think I like threw away a lot of those pictures, like sadly. But I would say that at this point in my life, I have improved my physical appearance. And that is pretty much out of shame for being the ugly duckling as a kid. So what I've done as an adult is I work out a lot. I am pretty strict with my diet. Right now I'm on a what's called the Okinawa diet. I think I mentioned this in another podcast, so I'm not going to get into much detail about it, but you can look it up, the Okinawa diet. But it's been really working for me and I'm very happy with it because I feel like it's a very balanced diet. It's like strict, but also a balanced strict. So basically my only sources of protein are eggs, fish, and pork. I would say like eggs primarily as my source of protein, fish second, and pork third. So I eat pork like once a week. I eat fish like twice a week, and then every other day I eat eggs. So those are my only sources of protein. As far as carbohydrates go, I don't eat any gluten. So you won't see me eating any like white bread. You won't see me eating any like, well, actually any bread. Like I don't eat gluten. So I don't eat, unless it's gluten-free bread. Which I'm very picky with, by the way, because a lot of gluten-free products are not good for you. So I'm like very picky about which ones I get. I'll talk about that in a different video, maybe sometime if you have questions about that. But, as far as the carbs go, I primarily eat rice, beans, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes is like a huge staple of that diet, by the way. Certain like starchy vegetables, like I don't know, beets, carrots, like those types of things, starchy vegetables. I ate a lot of fruits. I ate a lot of like tropical fruits like mangoes, papayas. I ate a lot of soups, like a lot of broths. I'm big into like the ramen now, as long as it's like a gluten-free noodle, like a rice noodle. And I don't eat any dairy. So that's pretty much the diet I'm on right now, and it works very well for me. I feel like my body functions and does really well on this diet. I feel satiated. I feel energetic. I feel like my skin is a lot better. I feel like right now my skin is a lot better than it was, like I said, when I was younger and had all that acne. And I've still had acne problems as an adult, but I feel like I've like overcome a lot of that through my diet. And by the way, I cheat on that diet sometimes, so don't think I'm like totally crazy. Like I do drink a beer maybe like once or twice a week. And I'll like have cheat days when I'm out with friends. So if I'm on like a date with somebody, I'll have a cheat day. Or if I'm like out with a close friend or like a family party or a vacation, I'll cheat. But like I would say 80% of my food is home cooked and on the Okinawa lifestyle. So I would, like I said, I would say that I've improved my physical appearance through taking good care of my health. And also there is definitely a genetic factor as well, which I've mentioned this on the previous podcast, but I think my mother was a very good looking woman. And I don't think I got all her genetics, because I think she's like way better looking than me, or at least she was when she was younger. But I think there must be something to that. I think there must be something genetically there. And also I think my dad's sisters are very beautiful. So I think genetically I got something there too. But like I said, I do think it's partially genetic and partially a lot of hard work, to be like a 7 out of 10 in my opinion. So when you say I'm like super hot, I don't think I am. I think I'm good looking and like an average good looking. And I think that's because I put the work into it. Anyways, I appreciate that. I find you very hot, Trisha. You're very hot. And I really mean that. Okay. Question number 4, Adgeatic, Adgeatic, Adgeatic. I always fuck this up. I don't know how to pronounce this. Maybe you can comment in the comment section, how to pronounce it, like phonetically. He says, Adgeatic says, as a musician, are there any contemporary music trends that you love or any that you hate? I would say this, I've become a lot more open-minded as a musician, these days. And I think that's pretty much because I also teach music, to make ends meet financially. And that's like my side gig that supports what I do here. Actually, my main gig that I can, support my stand-up and my podcast and everything like that. That is like what I do for my financial gains. And I would say by the experience of teaching the people of the younger generation, like teenagers of today, I have been exposed to a lot more music that when I was younger, I wouldn't have listened to. And by the virtue of doing so, I've become a lot more open-minded and actually a lot more better of a musician by just kind of opening my mind to different possibilities. So I would say there really isn't much music that I don't like now. I would say one thing I do really love now is I do feel like a lot of modern pop stars are now starting to integrate jazz chord progressions in their songs. You'll hear this kind of thing. I wish I can give you a concrete example, but you can hear this kind of thing on like even YouTube channels. Like a lot of YouTubers will have like these beats with these like jazzy harmonies in the chord progressions. I feel like you guys know what I'm talking about, but I can't think of any like specific artists that demonstrate what I'm talking about. I would say one artist or one song that's on my mind that actually does demonstrate this very well is Billie Eilish, My Future. There's a song by Billie Eilish called My Future, and the chord progression is pretty deep. Like it's pretty jazzy and pretty elaborate. So I really like that. A lot of like modern pop stars are exploring these jazz chord progressions. I think that's amazing. I'm actually probably going to do a cover of My Future by Billie Eilish on this channel pretty soon. I've been like playing through that, during my practice session. So I would love to do a cover of that song. I would say as far as music trends that I don't like, I would say I don't like trap music, not rap, trap. I love rap music. There's a lot of rap artists that I really like right now. You guys know I love rap and I love hip hop, but I can't get too into like some of the generic like trap type stuff. I think some of the rhythms I think some of the vocal rhythms are very bland. Like some of the ways they're singing sound like very repetitive, and I'm not really big into trap music. But I love different types of rap music. Like I love the complex rhythms and the genius lyrical tricks that they're doing and everything like that. I think it's awesome. But so I would say probably like certain trap music. Like you know what I hate? I don't even know if this is classified as trap, but I hate to say this because a lot of my students love this. I don't like the it's like this really popular song that like all of my male students that are like 12 love this song. The horses in the back. Wait, what is this called? Oh my God. It's like about horses, the cowboys. What the fuck is this? God damn it. It's like slipping my mind right now. I wish I had an assistant to look this up for me because I can't remember the name of this. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I got the horses in the back. Ride 'em. I don't know. I can't remember the name of this right now, and I'm really shocked that I can't because I've taught it like a million times to my students. As a matter of fact, one of my students are learning this right now. What the fuck is it called? It's driving me crazy. It might come to me later, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Put it in the comment section what I'm talking about. I think it's in, here's the thing, I can remember what key it's in. I think it's an A sharp. I think the first chord is an A sharp minor chord, but I can't remember the fucking, I can't remember it. Whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's like this really popular, I think it's a trap song, but like I find it really boring and really dull. I think the singing is very like repetitive and really boring. Okay, so there's that. Question number 5. Sergi.r15. I think it's Sergi. Sergi.r15 asks me, can we try shrooms together? I appreciate you asking. And actually, this is one of my listeners who came to visit me at a show. So I'm really thankful that he came to visit me. I really appreciate that. My answer to that, my short answer is no. My answer is no, in general. And I'll tell you why. It's not to hurt your feelings. It's just that when it comes to these substances, I'm very, very shy and very, very, like I can't even smoke around people. I can't even smoke marijuana around people. I get very much in my own head and I don't feel open and comfortable as sharing those experiences with people. I think one of my goals in the future is to open up more in those types of ways and to be able to experience those things with people. But I will say this, I've only tried mushrooms one time, and during that time I was terrified to try it with the person that I tried it with. And I love this person and I trust them completely. But it was a horrifying experience, like the idea of like losing control over my body around another person. So I do want to try shrooms again, but the next time I try it, I'm definitely going to do it by myself. I don't know. I think there will come a day where I feel more open to exploring these types of things with other people. But at this point in my life, I'm very, very shy and very secluded about these types of things. I don't feel comfortable opening up that part of me in front of other people, So no, I will not try shrooms with you. But I don't mean to insult you, and I do appreciate you coming to my show. Number 6, a couple more questions and we're almost done. Number 6, Alejandro _ Ataucusi Alejandro Ataucusi, which, by the way, he's actually on my podcast. If you go way back, he's a Peruvian guitarist. Like if you go down to like episode, I think he's like episode number 2. He's a Peruvian guitarist, super fucking talented guy. Loved having him on the podcast, loved talking to him. We did a song together. I sang and he played guitar. So if you go to like I said, I believe it's episode number 2 or 3, something like that. I'm pretty sure it's episode number 2. You could check him out. So he asks me, this fucking asshole, he asks me, why is the sky blue? Now here's the thing. I know he's being an asshole, but you guys know me. I'm going to humor you and actually give you a scientific explanation for your question. I had one girl ask me, like, do people really like the smell of their own farts? And I actually researched it and gave you an answer. So I did that. And I am by no means a scientist, so I don't know if I can explain this very clearly, but I can try. And if someone is a scientist, by the way, or in the field of science or biology or whatever the fuck, astronomy, you can comment in the comment section below anything you may or may not know about this. Why is the sky blue? So I actually read about this for you. And what I read is that sunlight actually contains a large spectrum of colors, such as the rainbow, and the sun is actually reflecting a huge spectrum of colors in the sky, but different colors have different wavelengths. For example, I think red has the longest wavelength, or one of the longest wavelengths, and blues and violets have the shortest wavelength in the spectrum. So apparently, and again, I'm not a scientist, so I don't understand the reasons why. So I think you kind of have to have like a deeper understanding of wavelengths of color to really know like the answer to that. But from what I read, shorter wavelength colors are actually scattered through the sky. Like, I don't know if that's the correct way to say it or phrase it, but that's what my dumb brain can phrase it. I read that shorter wavelength colors are scattered through the sky quicker, and therefore that's what we can see. But it's not the only colors in the sun that the sun's actually reflecting. It's just like the most powerful one that's being dispersed because it has the shortest wavelength, whatever the fuck that means. Which like kind of makes sense, because there are some days where, do you ever notice like sometimes the sky is orange, sometimes the sky is like purple, or sometimes the sky is green? Like, so it kind of makes sense that there could be something going on in the atmosphere that is allowing those other colors to shine through. I don't understand it, but I know it happens because I've seen like many a nights, like not many a nights, but a decent amount of nights where like there's just like this beautiful color in the sky, and you know, there must be something scientific going on there where like certain colors are able to shine through. I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm talking so much. Certain colors are able to shine through because of certain things going on in the atmosphere that I don't understand. But I thought that was actually like an interesting thing to read about. So I'm kind of glad you're fucking with me, because I got, by the virtue of you fucking with me, I got to learn something new. Okay. Last question. Love this guy. Very talented person. He's a chef, a musician. He's a listener, and he has asked me a lot of questions on this podcast, and I'm really grateful for that. His name is Lazy Eyed Wanderer. By the way, Lazy Eyed Wanderer, do you call yourself that because you have a lazy eye? I'm kind of curious. And I don't mean to insult you. I'm just genuinely curious. Because I've noticed he wears glasses a lot, so I'm kind of wondering if he's got a lazy eye, and that's why he says that. No hate, I'm just curious. But Lazy Eyed Wanderer asks me, do you often find inspiration while performing a specific task? This is a really good question. I'm going to say it again. Do you often find inspiration while performing a specific task? So my answer to that question is, there isn't one specific task that I do that I always notice, oh my God, every time I run, you know, the music comes to me, or the stand-up comes to me. No, I don't, there isn't one specific task that does that for me, but more so there is a specific combination of factors that are usually at play, which I will explain. So here's the thing. A lot of people think that inspiration comes from pain. And I've had some friends, for example, tell me like they're afraid to take medication because they don't want to numb their craziness. I find that I'm actually most inspired. I do think that inspiration, in particular stand-up inspiration, comes from pain. That's true. But I do think that pain remains in your subconscious. And I do think it gets blended somewhere in your subconscious. And I find that the inspiration behind that pain actually comes out when I'm feeling relaxed and happy. So I kind of don't disagree with that statement or like that sentiment that you have to be a miserable asshole piece of shit to have something good to say. I do think it's important to have life experiences and to have sad and miserable things like breakup songs and painful things to happen in your life, for those things to get into your subconscious and for you to get those ideas. But I don't necessarily think the inspiration to write those things comes when you're sad. I personally find that when I am sad, I'm unable to do anything but just feel my feelings and cry. I find that whenever I'm feeling inspired to write a song, whenever I'm feeling ready to write a song or write some stand-up, it's usually when I'm feeling my best, and it's usually when I'm feeling relaxed. Or what did I say that like that? Did you guys hear that? Relax? I feel like that came out really weird. Relaxed. It's usually when I'm relaxed, and I've noticed that I'm much more. I feel like everybody draws inspiration at different times of the day, and some people are like specifically night owls and all their ideas come to them at night. Me personally, I've noticed that my ideas tend to come to me in the afternoons, like around 12 o'clock. I'm very much like inspired in the afternoons. And I noticed that sunlight for me plays a big part in it. I've noticed that my best ideas come to me when there's sun. Which again, everybody's different. Like some people could be genuine night people that their best ideas come to them in the moonlight or at night. But for me, it's like, I just feel like there's like a magnetic, something in the sun, like power in the sun that inspires me personally. So yeah, I think there isn't like a specific task I'm doing, but it's usually a combination of these factors. One, I think there does need to be some type of traumatic or painful experience in my subconscious. But once that's in there, I think it brews in my brain, and then later it comes out usually when it's sunny, when I'm relaxed, and when I'm feeling good. And I have noticed, like, to kind of be more specific, because you asked me, is there one specific task I'm doing? Not always. Like sometimes it comes to me when I'm at the grocery store, or sometimes an idea comes to me when I'm driving around in my car, or sometimes an idea comes to me when I'm doing my dishes. It's really fucking random, honestly, when it comes. But it, like I said, it usually is during the afternoon. It's usually during the sunlight. And it's usually during like around that 12 o'clock time. But I will say this, a lot of the times I do, if there was a specific task that I do see like a pattern, I have come up with a lot of song ideas while practicing classical piano. Or not even classical. It could be like a pop song or something. If I have noticed that, like, when I'm really, really into practicing something else, I think that is already written there for me. I do think it like unlocks something in my brain. And again, usually all the factors are at play. It's usually like I'm practicing something classical or something pop or jazz or whatever that's already written for me. That's usually one thing. And it's about the afternoon time. I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling good. Like it'll never happen during a practice session that I'm not into, like where I'm like dreading the practice session. It only happens into practice sessions where I'm like feeling so involved and so into what I'm doing. I do think like something's at play there where like the practice session unlocks something subconscious in my brain, and it's like almost like jumbling. It's almost like in a way, like, because I have a philosophy about songs. I don't think any songs are truly original. I think song ideas are almost like dreams. Like you have a dream and your subconscious jumbles like a whole bunch of fucking random shit together, and you come up with this scenario. Like, for example, like you might have a dream that you're in Disney World with your ex-boyfriend and your grandma somehow has blonde hair now and her voice sounds like Tim Dillon. Like you just like all these little things that are in your subconscious get jumbled together to make this thing. I think it's the same fucking thing that happens with song ideas. I don't think they're really truly original. I think what happens is like all the songs that you've ever heard or you've ever played or listened to in your subconscious get jumbled together, and this other shit comes like spitting out of you. I think that's how it happens. So I do think that like when I'm practicing something else, it unlocks like the other shit that's been jumbled in my brain, and it inspires like the birth of a new idea. So like I think that every song that somebody writes is a combination of all the songs they've ever played or listened to, jumbled up together in some like dreamlike state. That's my philosophy of it, because I don't really think that like I write the songs. I think the songs are already written and they come to you in this like relaxed state of mind. So anyways, I hope that answers your question. Like I said, there's never like a specific task I'm doing, but it's like more like a combination of tasks and a combination of circumstances that I do notice like will inspire me. Anyways, that's it. That is the Pranzata Podcast, episode number 24. I hope you guys enjoy yourself. I really enjoyed this podcast and I loved your questions. So again, keep the questions coming. You can send them to me on Instagram, Pranzata. You can direct message me your questions. As we leave, do not forget to hit subscribe. If you enjoy yourself, don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to comment on anything that I had mentioned before. If you liked something, didn't like something. Also, like I said before, I'm going to be playing a show on Saturday, August 16th. You can rewind back to the beginning of the video to find the details about that. I would love to see you guys there. If any of my listeners live in New Jersey or live close to the North Jersey area, that would be awesome if you guys came out to see me perform. A comedy show, I should specify that because I do music shows as well. But anyways, this is the Pranzata Podcast, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Bye.